It's Wednesday, the 23rd of March 2022. Thank you for making an appointment with Primetime News. I'm Michael Madimba. As per usual, if it's your first time joining us, please subscribe, press the like button, and be sure to click on the bell icon to stay abreast with the latest in local and global news. We commence the bulletin with the presidency. Head of State Dr. Hage Geingob, First Lady Monica Geingob, as well as several high-ranking government officials have arrived in the Emirates and will be attending the Expo 2020 Dubai. Marco Ndlovu compiled our first report.
The President is accompanied by cabinet ministers such as Finance Minister Ipumbu Shimi, Minister of Industrialization and Trade Lucia Ipumbu, Agriculture, Water and Land Reform Minister Kale Schlettwein, and the Deputy Minister of Mines and Energy Cornelia Shilunga. President Dr. Hage Geingob addressed the Namibia Investment Summit at the Grand Hyatt Hotel earlier today. The President is further expected to hold bilateral meetings while the Expo continues with key political leaders of the United Arab Emirates for discussions around cooperation with Namibia. First Lady Monica Geingob will also take part in a number of activities at the Expo. President Geingob is expected back in Namibia later this week.
The city of Windhoek has commenced terminating free water supply to Windhoek's rural informal settlements due to a financial burden of approximately 90 million Namibian dollars owed by the government. Let's get more details from this story compiled by Linia Dishena.
In an interview with Nampa here on Tuesday, City of Windhoek spokesperson Harold Okwenye said the municipality cannot sustain the financial burden of providing free water supply, which was instituted in March 2020 as a government directive due to COVID-19. He said council had already taken the decision in November 2021 to effectively terminate the provision of free water by February 2022. However, the commencement could only take place in March. The city of Windhoek, he revealed, spends approximately 4 million Namibian dollars per month for the supply of free water across all Windhoek's rural communities, noting that the closure of water is done in phases and residents should expect complete disconnection by the end of April 2022. The prepaid water system will be reinstated.
Moving on to an unfortunate incident. 2 men were shot and killed Monday evening by members of the Namibian police force at Ngaramatea village in the Kavango East region. Sawi Hausiku filed this report.
Namibia Crime Investigations Coordinator for the region, Bonifacius Kanietu, in a crime report on Tuesday, said the police intercepted a planned armed robbery at the third village around 9:45 p.m. Kanietu said the alleged armed robbers shot at the police, who stopped them at a mini roadblock in the area. It is further alleged that the deceased were part of a gang of 4 who were allegedly on their way to commit a robbery. 2 of the suspected gang members survived and were arrested on the scene. The Deputy Commissioner said the police received a tip from the members of the public. The identities of the deceased were withheld as their next of kin are yet to be informed of their deaths.
Staying with crime-related news. The man who was shot and killed on Tuesday last week at Farm Fox outside Grootfontein in the Otjies-Njupa region has been identified as 31-year-old Zakaria Kanje. Mulisa Simiasa, our Otjies-Njupa station journalist, compiled the story.
Namibian Police Force Crime Investigations Coordinator in the region, Deputy Commissioner Nokalemo Andreas, told the Namibia Press Agency on Tuesday that the deceased was identified over the weekend by his close relatives. She said the autopsy also indicated that Kanje was shot 3 times with some severe head injuries. The 65-year-old female commercial farmer, Margriet Sophia Willem, was arrested in connection with the incident and charged for murder on Wednesday last week. Willem made a brief first appearance in the Grootfontein Magistrates Court last Friday, where her case was postponed to the 5th of April 2022 for further police investigations. She was remanded in custody. She, however, informed the court that her desire is to bring a bail application on the 24th of March through her private lawyer. Andreas last week said preliminary police investigation indicated that the deceased had allegedly entered the private commercial farm in an unknown manner. Around 5 o'clock on Tuesday morning, the accused took food to feed her dogs outside the house and came across the man who was standing with the stick. The man allegedly used the stick to hit the farmer on her forehead, and she fought back by firing at him several times with a revolver she was carrying.
Your top roundup is up next. In tonight's business and economic segment, we begin home. The government is committed to ensuring the development and exploitation of the recently discovered oil resources will be transparent and benefit Namibia's people and future generations. Our Irongo-based journalist Isabel Bento compiled this report.
This involves the unlocking of funding and launching of various development programs such as training opportunities and scholarships. And this is only the start of Namibia's economic revival after years of prolonged downturns. These interventions are an absolute must, as the Namibian Constitution enjoins us to enact laws and policies for advancement of persons who have been economically disadvantaged by past discriminatory laws and practices. Fellow Namibians, our progress towards prosperity rests on a dynamic and robust economy. Although government has made every effort possible to support economic growth, I must emphasize that government's role is that of facilitation. I must emphasize that government's role is that of facilitation. The government's priority is not to conduct business. Instead, our focus is on fulfilling the needs of vulnerable members of our society through implementing social relief programs and creating a conducive business environment.
On to European business news. Rising prices across the board sent British inflation soaring to a new 30-year high in February as the cost of living crisis intensified. This according to official figures. Let's get an in-depth analysis from DPA.
The Office of the National Statistics said consumer price index inflation rose to 6.2 in February, up from 5.5% in January, and again reaching the highest level since March 1992 when it stood at 7.1%. The rise was higher than expected and comes after prices lifted across food, clothing, footwear, and a range of products and services. The Office of the National Statistics said inflation rose across 10 out of the 12 categories that fit into the index, with only communication and education not seeing increases. Experts have warned that prices will rise further still as the Ukraine conflict pushes up already sky-high inflation, adding to painful price rises for energy, fuel, commodities, and food. An increased energy price cap, the planned reversal of a hospitality VAT cut, and an increase in national insurance tax are set to deepen the crisis facing British households. With the business and economics news, we've come to the end of the top news for this evening.
Kindly stay tuned for the economics roundup, followed by the weather forecast.
A very good evening and a warm welcome to this Wednesday night's edition of Sport Planet. I'm Salima Shimwefeleni Masipa. Premier League related news headlines tonight's segment. Manchester United star Paul Pogba has opened up on suffering from bouts of depression during his playing career. The World Cup winner became the most expensive footballer on the planet for a period when Manchester United re-signed him from Juventus back in August 2016. DPA brings us more on this story.
Pogba has bore the brunt of criticism at times for the Red Devils' inconsistent performances, with the 29-year-old having not won a major honour with United since collecting winners' medals in the League Cup and Europa League in 2017. Speaking to a daily French tabloid while on international duty with France, Pogba revealed he has had to contend with personal issues away from the pitch. "I've had depression in my career, but we don't talk about it," he said. "Sometimes you don't know you are. You just want to isolate yourself, be alone. These are unmistakable signs." Pogba went on to say he noticed his struggles beginning during Jose Mourinho's time as manager at United. The two endured a reportedly rocky relationship when the Portuguese was in charge at Old Trafford, with Pogba losing his vice-captaincy in September 2018. Personally, it started when I was with Jose Mourinho at United, Pogba added. You ask yourself questions. You wonder if you are at fault because you have never experienced these moments in your life. Pogba added, the personal riches and acclaim that comes from being a professional footballer does not stop players from going through difficult times.
Staying with football, Euro 2020 champions Italy and Copa America holders Argentina will clash at Wembley Stadium in June, the South American Football Confederation and European football governing body UEFA said on Tuesday. Dubbed the Finalissima, the duel will revive a concept that has been dormant since 1993, when a Diego Maradona-led Argentina beat Denmark on penalties. The announcement follows months of talks between the South American Football Confederation and UEFA officials in an effort to strengthen ties and increase cooperation between two regions that have traditionally dominated world football. The discussions have also reportedly included a proposal to allow Brazil and Argentina to feature in an expanded Nations League tournament with European teams. Stand by for your sports roundup. And with that, we've come to the end of tonight's midweek edition of Primetime News. Many thanks for joining us. Another reminder that if you're new to this channel, please subscribe, like, share, and click on the notifications bell to stay up to date on the latest happenings locally and globally. Feel free to add your comments as well in the comment section. Do catch us tomorrow for Thursday's edition of Primetime News. From myself, Salima Shimwefeleni Masipa, and the entire production crew behind the scenes, it's good night.